Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Welcome to What Women Want Talk Radio for our show tonight, Inside the Mind of Working Moms. This is, of course, a tribute to Mother's Day this Sunday to moms everywhere. I'm your host, Judy Goss, along with my awesome co-host, Kristin West. 3 years of airing, I can't believe it, What Women Want here on LA Talk Radio. I want to thank all of our listeners for getting us to over 700,000 downloads so far. We are enjoying every single show, and I hope you do also. Some captivating conversations, let me tell you. And if you want to listen to past shows, please go to LA Talk Radio's website archives. That's latalkradio.com. It's under What Women Want. Or you can subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play. You'll hear some of our celebrity guests who have been with us, like former O.J. Simpson prosecutor Marcia Clark, five-time Olympian Jackie Edwards. This is all in the past year. Don't Sweat the Small Stuff author Dr. Kristin Carlson. 2 weeks ago, we had former Today Show anchor Jenna Wolf. She was fabulous. And we've had famous actresses, singers, entrepreneurs, even love coaches, tarot card readers, all kinds of women, and men too. We're actually having Dr. Dennis Netter back on the show in a couple of weeks. And everyone is so fantastic, inspiring, and unique in their very own ways. In just a few minutes, we're going to be bringing on the editor-in-chief of Working Mother magazine, Meredith Bodgas, along with entrepreneurial coach Linda Albright, to talk about their perspectives of today's working mom. Meredith has some key insights of what it takes these days just to be a working mom, along with her just released, in the past 24 hours actually, or maybe 36 hours, 50 Most Powerful Moms of 2017. This is an annual list, and I'd like to be on it someday, along with my friends Beyonce, Ivanka Trump, the ones that got selected this year. And Linda Albright has a brilliant webinar coming up, and she will give you access to it if you listen to the whole show, about growing your business more effectively with your hidden inner code. Now, I would have told you I don't believe in this sort of thing, but she really has it down to a science. She's been testing it for over a year, and it's laying out your life's blueprint and how you can use it to your every advantage. Fascinating stuff. These guests are coming on the line soon, but first, if you want to know about my background, and even if you don't, I am a TV host besides being a radio show host of this awesome show. A regular contributor on NBC and Fox. I'm on Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. as a lifestyle expert on Ernie Anasta's show. An entrepreneur, I founded the nationally acclaimed What Women Want networking group 5.5 years ago, and we have about 20 chapters around the country. I'm a St. Martin's Press author and a freelance writer for New York Lifestyles magazine. And the most important job of all, I'm the mom of twin girls who are now almost 13 years old, almost teenagers, 2 of them female in the house with me. It's a trip. What Women Want Networking, same name as our show, What Women Want Networking, is having our first national women's conference called Spirit of Women in Atlanta, October 7 through 8, spiritofwomenconference.com, featuring VIP sponsor Women for One. The founder of womenforone.com, Kelly McNellis, will be running a workshop called Discover Your Messy Truth. Can't wait to take that one. I'm so excited. The first lifestyles networking conference that I've ever heard of. And we are also thrilled to have psychotherapist to the stars and award-winning TV reporter Dr. Robbie Ludwig from New York City as a keynote at the conference too. So if you're interested in more info, please go to spiritofwomenconference.com. Our show tonight is Inside the Mind of Working Moms here on LA Talk Radio with your hosts, me, Judy Goss, and Kristin West. Okay, working or not, you have to take care of your health, right? Dr. Timothy Morley from Full Circle Women's Health can help you do just that. Dr. Morley, a bioidentical hormone expert and board-certified physician, is dedicated to helping patients find relief from hormone imbalances. His practice concentrates on overall health and wellness, focusing on healthy aging through bioidentical hormone therapy as well as nutrition and exercise. And if you're in the New York area, May 24th, he's having an event at his office in White Plains. It's free. So please email us at the show if you're interested in attending, and we'll send you an invitation. whatwomenwantshow@gmail.com. Kristin West, my co-host. She's amazing, an award-winning actress and producer. She is the winner of a Best Actress Award for the film Seeking Valentina, nominated for Best Actress and the Mary Austin Award for Female Producers. And she also won the Indie Spirit Award this year at the Idlewild International Film Festival. Kristin, did your mom work when you were growing up?
She was a public school teacher for over 20 years, and for most of that time, she was also a single working mom. So I have tremendous admiration for my mother because she shouldered so much when I was a kid.
I bet it sounds like it. You know, my parents were both teachers too, and it's just it's just definitely not a 9-to-5 job. Actually, my parents didn't get summers off because they were more admin, so they worked summers too. But it's like they leave the house at 6 a.m. or something, and don't come back till 4 or 5, 6 o'clock. So it's definitely that's a hard one. And I'm going to also say that working moms do juggle, but I've also been a stay-at-home mom, and I found out that job was even harder for me. It was more exhausting. Of course, I had twin toddlers at the time. I was laid off from, I was at More Magazine, and I was at home for 11 months until I found another job, and I almost tore my hair out. It was crazy.
I think the work that women do, especially in raising children, caring for children, nurturing for children, there's so much that we don't consider the cost of that to the woman emotionally, financially, interpersonally. And I'm so excited to discuss with Meredith and Linda all the facets of women's work, whether they're working in a traditional job or they're even working at home, how that impacts a woman's well-being and her psyche and her spirit.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what they have to say also. I mean, these are women who are high up in their industries. They're high profile, very visible, and very, very busy. So let's bring on our first guest, Meredith Bodgas, and hear what she has to say. I can't wait to hear, too, who was on the 50 most powerful moms list.
Right. Meredith.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Meredith. I'm going to just go over your credentials really quick so that people know who you are and what you're about, and then we're going to launch into that conversation. Meredith is the editor-in-chief of Working Mother magazine, and she's written for Glamour, Redbook, Family Circle, and many more. She's a New York City native and now lives with her husband and young son on Long Island. And Meredith, welcome to the show. You sound like a bright ray of sunshine just coming through the airwaves.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now,
oh my gosh! And in addition to her intro too, she's the editor-in-chief of WorkingMother.com and also writes for NewYorkTimes.com. Wow, you go, girl!
Thank you so much.
Now, Meredith, you have your annual 50 Most Powerful Moms list released this week. Tell us about this list.
Sure. So this is a list of 50 moms who all have at least one child under the age of 21. Many of them have children even younger than that. And they exert so much power over their communities, over the whole country, and they're from all different walks of life. There are people who are big players on the politics scene. There are, major film stars and music stars. And then there are, my personal favorite, the STEM women, the women in the sciences and engineering fields who are making major strides with medical breakthroughs. And there are also women in finance who just have control over huge sums of money, billions and billions of dollars. And in addition to doing all those amazing and inspiring things, they also are committed to helping other women and moms especially. And that is why they made this list.
That's amazing. I'm just intrigued by this list because, we have so many lists in the internet and, Forbes lists, but this is so unique that there's a list devoted to working mothers. And obviously you had a pool of very fascinating ladies to choose from. How did you narrow this list down to get to those amazing 50 women as the editor of this magazine? How did you make those decisions?
Well, we wanted to make sure this list was reflective of who is making the biggest impact in 2017. We're not even halfway through 2017, so we did look at some 2016 accomplishments, but that was what was most important to me. Who is changing the way we think, who is changing the way we do things right now, not 5 years ago. So there are lots of really powerful moms out there. Thank goodness, that might not have been the case 50 years ago, but now there are. So my job is difficult in narrowing it down. But I have to say this crop of women are the ones who are the moviest and shakiest of the movers and shakers. And that's how we make our decision. And we're also looking to get a diverse group. We don't want women who all have the same age child, women who all have the same background, women who are from, whose families are from the same countries. We're looking at women who are diverse in every sense of the word. And that is another way we arrive at this list of 50. So other moms out there can look at this list and say, yes, she looks like me, or she has a kid my age, or she is in the same field I'm in. I can be that someday. That's the big factor for me.
This is all very intriguing, and I think what you're speaking to is a point and a recognition in our society and our cultural dialogue that there's really no monolithic motherhood. It means something different to every mother depending on her background, her skills, her life goals, and how her family is structured. And I think that's intriguing that you've really brought that front and center. Now, Meredith, you're very much an expert on motherhood. You have a family yourself. And you've written, I just perused all of your writing on motherhood and being a working mother. Now that you really have immersed yourself in the culture of working motherhood, what do you think is the biggest concern working moms have today in 2017?
We never get to turn off. I think about work all the time, and I think about my family all the time. So my mind is just constantly on. There's very little time to turn off. And I think, that is a health concern because we get stressed out, and stress has all sorts of horrible effects on our bodies. And we don't sleep as well because we're stressed and because we're constantly, thinking. So that is the biggest issue I see. And this is not just for working moms. I think this is for stay-at-home moms and for however moms define themselves. We just are constantly thinking about so many different things because we have so many different responsibilities. So we have to figure out how we're going to achieve all the various things that are on our plate at any given time.
I'm going to jump in here because that exactly happened to me today. And I feel it's, the sleep thing, forget about it. But it's like I had a kid in my bed last night. Now, these guys are 5'4". They're almost 13 years old. So having a kid in my bed is not... Well, it's big. My point is when I had them, I feel like when I had them when they were smaller on a king-size bed, I could kind of scoot away from them and let them do their thing. But now it's like it's another big person next to me. And of course my husband had to sleep upstairs. Her room we had to exterminate it. It was full of ants. And then today we had like another issue. I'm trying to work and do my thing with my networking company, and of course produce the show and things like that. I had to take my daughter to the neurologist because she was having severe migraines, and just not only just the kind of mundane task of driving 30 minutes to this special neurologist, all the way across town and waiting and stress and this and that, but it's like when you find out and you're not sure something that's wrong, if something's wrong with your child and you're trying to work and it can really take away, it can zap you, not even just the lack of sleep and everything else, but just worrying about, one particular thing. It's almost like you sometimes freeze up. Do you ever get that, Meredith?
Absolutely. I mean, the situation you're describing, I feel like was me this entire winter for much less serious things. My son, he's going to be 3 years old on Friday. So this winter he was 2, and he is in daycare, and he is constantly picking up whatever bug is going around his daycare. And it was always on me to figure. Yes. Oh, winter is the worst. I am spring's biggest fan, but he is developing something again. So, I'm trying not to think about it, but it was always on me to figure out, okay, how am I going to get my work done? And how am I going to stay home with him at the same time? Because I can't send him to daycare if he's sick. I don't have, my family doesn't live close to me. They live more than an hour away, which I know is closer than some people's families, but they're not able to, my mom is still a working mom, and she can't leave her job to come help me out so I don't have to leave mine. So that was my whole winter. I just always felt zapped because I was constantly trying to put the very complicated puzzle together. And just today, actually, my son, like I said, he's turning 3 on Friday. We were going to have a backyard bash for him on Saturday. And I looked at my weather app, and there is a 100% chance of rain in our area. So I had to go into...
Oh, no.
Yes. Oh, yes. So I had to go into planning mode again and rethink our whole strategy. I spent my lunch break trying to find another place for us to hold his birthday party. It was not successful yet. I'm going to keep trying, but it's constantly thinking of backup plan B, backup plan C, backup plan D, and somehow you always get to D before it works out.
You know, Meredith, you brought up something so intriguing. First of all, the amazing amount of flexibility, problem solving, coping skills you have to have as a mother. But there was one interesting thing, you said so many, that stood out to me. You were talking about a working grandmother, and that's actually more and more of a statistical reality now, isn't it, where we have grandmothers who are providing child care but maybe don't have enough money to retire and are also working and helping out their children with child care duties. Is that something that you've seen more and more of in the past, few years?
Absolutely. Yes, because, when the economy tanked a few years ago, a lot of people's retirement accounts tanked, and they were finding themselves suddenly having to add years onto their work lives that they weren't anticipating. My mother is not 65 yet, so she wasn't going to be retiring yet, but she doesn't know if she can afford to retire at 65. And actually, since you mentioned me writing for the New York Times, a piece I did for nytimes.com was about how I just foolishly assumed my mom, of course, she would leave her job and take care of my son. And my grandmother watched me for a while before I was in preschool. So I just, of course my mom's going to do that for me. She couldn't afford it. And she's not alone. That is how it is for so many families. Some grandparents don't want to watch the grandchildren, which is their call. And some grandparents who do can't afford to. I was going to pay my mother what we would pay a daycare around here, and it still wasn't enough to supplement her income, to make up for the income she has now. So she works. She commutes to Manhattan from Staten Island, New York, which is about an hour and a half each way. And she's doing this multiple times a week. And she's over 60 years old, and she's going to keep doing it for a few more years because she has to. And she is not alone. She's far from alone. And it's unfortunate because I think millennial moms, the ones who are, who have the young children now, feel like their village that they thought that they would have to rely on when they have to be at work, or they have to be at work late, or their work is just crazy. They don't have that support because their own parents don't have that luxury. And it's a difficult situation, but of course, we make it work because that's what moms do.
Well, it is a huge number. I took the time to look it up. There are 49 million people, which is about 16% of the population, that are living in households where there are 2 adult generations and a child generation in the same house, or a grandparent plus a child generation. So it is it's 16% of U.S. families that are living like that, and it's. I'm glad that you and others are giving voice to this issue, that we do have people who are not being able to retire that are also sharing childhood care concerns. And I'm eager to see how your magazine and others explore more of that, because it is a lot of people, like you said. What I wanted to ask you too is, because you have so much experience with this, what do you feel is one of the most unacknowledged issues that working mothers have? We talk about childcare. We talk about women's pay, equal pay for equal work. We talk about work-life balance. Is there an issue that you feel doesn't get enough attention in the dialogue about the situation that working mothers have?
I do. It's starting to get more attention, but only recently. Mental health issues, because when you are constantly charged with doing the impossible, it is impossible, it takes a toll on your mental health. And, there has been a conversation about postpartum depression, but nobody's talking about how postpartum depression doesn't end when you go back to work. It's not like it has a 12-week time frame. You go back to work and you take that with you. And even if you get over postpartum depression, there are so many other mental health problems that people have that you bring to work every day, and you cope with your family every day. And maybe your family knows about it and they know what to expect of you and they know how to support you. But there is still this feeling at work like you can't be open about your mental health issues, and you don't know how people would react if you are. And that, I think, affects moms not exponentially more, but more because of all the stress and the pressure on them to do so much so very well.
I think another added pressure to this as well is that I believe you and Judy were on a show with Dr. Robbie about mom shaming. Is that correct, Judy?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that moms in particular, there is so much cultural weight to the influence of a mother in a child's life, which is rightfully so, that sometimes I believe mothers can have this tremendous weight of having to be the perfect mom, to live up to a certain image. And we're starting to shake that, I think, in society, but it's still there. And I think that can contribute greatly to an imbalance in a woman's mental health and how she feels about herself and how she feels about
definitely. You hit the nail right on the head, Kristin. Absolutely.
Raising kids.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more, because you've never heard dads worrying about that. They're never like, oh, I don't feel like the perfect dad. My child is going to wind up screwed up. Dads don't think about that.
You don't do that, do you?
But moms are constantly thinking about that. We're always, I look at the moms groups I'm in on Facebook, and the questions are always, am I a bad mom? Am I screwing up my child? They always say that. And of course the answer is no.
I walk around the house. I walk around the house looking at my husband going, BM. I can't believe it, BM. Bad mom.
Right. We refer to ourselves as bad moms, but dads aren't doing that. And I don't know that they should be doing that, but I certainly think that moms should be judging themselves a whole lot less than we are.
That's the truth. And, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Kristin, but, with all of these physical ailments that my particular kids have had this year, one of my daughters missed 30 days of school. And now, the other daughter is going through it. Now she's maybe starting to look like she has the same thing that her twin did. And it just seems like they've had a lot of issues this year. And I just looked at them the other night and I said, you know what? I have fresh fruit on the table every morning with their breakfast. I'm neurotic about their sleep, their, what they put into their bodies, exercise. I bring my kids to the gym on the weekends. I don't know who does that. What parent looked over and she was like, God, I wish I thought of that when my kid was young. I feel like I overextend myself, and here they are so sick all year. And I'm just like, is it because of me? Like, it must be something I'm doing. We blame it all on ourselves all the time.
Yeah.
It's true.
Right, because...
Go ahead, Meredith.
Oh, we think that it must be our fault. We're the moms. We're the ones who are responsible for every aspect of their lives. But that's simply not the case. Everybody's bodies are going to do what their bodies are going to do. Of course, we have a lot of influence over that. But I have no doubt that you are a fabulous mom, Judy, and you are giving your daughters, you're giving them the best nutrition, the best exercise they can possibly get for 12-year-olds.
And it's just not, my point is that, we are always coming back to, like you're saying, what am I doing wrong? Am I a bad mom? We're always thinking that, and I just don't think it's fair. And that's why, like Kristin said, I love the purpose of your magazine is, bringing it all to light, and especially your blogs and the comments. And I know on the show, Dr. Robbie Ludwig's show, you were talking about how you listen to those, moms' comments of what they're saying and what they want to hear and what they want to know. And I think it's just fantastic that you're, embracing all of this and really writing them back and targeting these issues one by one.
Thank you. And I am my Facebook friends are probably annoyed with me, but pretty much every day I'll ask them a question. Just, what do you want to know about? How can I help you with your problems? Because
Kristin did that. She did a survey on Twitter.
I've been doing Twitter polls a few days before our topics, and what happened on this week's poll was 67% of our voters, which we didn't have a deluge of voters, moms said they wanted more me time, that's what they really wanted more than anything else, which I think is an amazing insight, and perhaps even instigates a cultural shift because moms realize that they need self-care just as much as they need to care for their children and their job.
Absolutely. And their days are divided between caring for their children, caring for their spouses, quite frankly, and taking care of work. There's no time left for themselves. Those 6 or 7 hours that they get to sleep, that's their me time. But really, we all have interests. We all have things we care about besides work, besides our families, and we don't prioritize them. And in fact, I was asking my Facebook friends because I wanted to do a story about girlfriend getaways, but I don't know if other moms take girlfriend getaways because I don't know that they have the time. And I asked on Facebook, would you guys take a girlfriend getaway? The response was overwhelming. Everyone was like, yes, I would love to. Tell me where I should go. What should I do? And it actually inspired one of my best friends, who we know each other from our magazine interning days, so we're friends for a long time. She reached out to me. She said, can we take a girlfriend getaway together? And now we're planning it. And I haven't taken a vacation, period, in quite a long time. But I certainly haven't gone away with just my friends in, I think 2007 was the last time I went away with friends. So I'm very, I'm excited that this has opened up a dialogue and can actually lead to me having a vacation.
Well, Meredith, you are the queen of opening up very important dialogues around motherhood, and we were so excited to have you on the show. And tell us where we can connect with you online. What's your website? And tell us where we can find your magazine.
Yes, so the magazine is Working Mother Magazine. Go to workingmother.com. That's our website. That's where you can see all the many new stories we're doing every single day. Go to facebook.com. We're Working Mother Magazine. Follow us there. You can subscribe to the magazine right from our website. Click subscribe. And on Facebook, we are always asking our readers for feedback. We want to know what you want to know about, so tell us.
Awesome. Well, ladies, do that right now. Get on Facebook and tell Meredith what you want. And now I think Judy's also going to bring on Linda. Thank you so much, Meredith, for joining us. And I think Linda's going to give us a path to getting what we want. Right, Judy?
Yeah, thank you, Meredith. Let's keep going on shows together.
Would love to. Thanks again.
Okay, Linda Albright. Linda is a women's wealth revolutionary. I can't wait to hear what that means. She's taught hundreds of women how to make more money doing what they love more effortlessly. If I could speak more effortlessly, we'd all be fine now. She's passionate about this because when women make more money, the world improves, hands down. Her latest teachings, which she'll share tonight and next week during an exclusive What Women Want webinar. Imagine that, What Women Want. Okay. Webinar on whatwomenwantnetworking.com. She teaches women how to replace the one-size-fits-all, just-do-it approach to growing a business with something far more effective and elegant. And I'm proud to say she's on the advisory board for What Women Want Networking. And happy to have her back on my show. Welcome back to the show, Linda.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you so much for having me. So thrilled to be back.
Oh, my gosh, it's a pleasure to have you. Okay, what the heck is a women's wealth revolutionary? This sounds like something back from like the Civil War or something.
Well, here's the thing. As we've been talking, and I've just been listening just on the edge of my seat about the state of mothers and women and the burdens that we have on our shoulders, it just becomes clearer and clearer to me that when we can empower women, and in my niche here, it's when I can empower a woman financially and also spiritually, as you know, Judy, then the world improves. So as a women's wealth revolutionary, I take a stand that every woman can create money, freedom, time, joy, and it's all possible. It just might take a little doing. So that's what I mean when I say women's wealth revolutionary, because as the Dalai Lama has said, the future of the world, of the planet, is in the hands of the Western woman. And I thought that was remarkable when he said that. And we're very privileged. We're very talented. We have many opportunities. And as women, I think our psyches, our energy, our brains work differently than men, and I think it's time for the divine feminine to step forward in every arena, whether it's business or families or education. And you can tell I could go on and on and on and on about this, Judy.
And I love it. I love that you're taking a stand because, someone's got to lead us in the direction of how we can improve ourselves, in better ways. And I want to get back to that. But I do want to ask you, because I just love this story so much, how you got started. You were a chimney sweep or something like that, right?
Oh, you like that old story, do you?
I love it.
Let's
hear it.
All right. I've never taken the road traveled. I take the road less traveled, even if I didn't want to. So many, many years ago, I was graduating from a top-notch private school, college, and I looked around and I saw, it felt like every single one of my classmates was heading off either to Wall Street or law school. And I just knew that wasn't for me. I was an art major, art history, and I just knew that wasn't for me. But I didn't know what to do because honestly, college, even the high-end expensive ones, they don't really teach you for life, what you're supposed to do in the world when you grow up. So I opened up the newspaper and I circled, remember classified ads way back then when they printed them? I circled the ad that said, chimney sweeps wanted.
And if you open something like that right now, I wouldn't be able to read it without my glasses for sure.
You and me both. But I circled that ad, and lo and behold, I got hired. And it was fabulous because it was my first taste really at true entrepreneurialism, because I opened up 3 offices in 3 states within 2 years, and I just got really bit by that entrepreneurial bug. And so that was my start of understanding business and independent womanhood and making money and having the ride of my life. And as you know, Judy, I then crashed into a wall when motherhood showed up, but I don't know if you want to hear about that part.
Oh, we always love hearing about crashing into walls, and I want to hear that story definitely, because people are inspired and can learn from it. And then I want to get back to segue, and that'll be a good segue into that whole fatigue, topic that we were talking about.
Yes. Oh boy. So, quick story, long story, much shorter. I loved business. I loved not just business, starting businesses. That whole phase of my life culminated. I went from one high-tech startup to another high-tech startup because I burnt out a chimney sweep. The chimney sweep world. I ended up on the West Coast and fell into high-tech startups back in the 90s, before anyone had heard of .coms. And it was such a wild ride. It was so much fun. And my journey there culminated, a lot of you can relate to this, culminated by a friend and I decided we wanted to start a .com. And it was our dream business. And there I was, standing in front of an investor panel, which was all men, and I was 5 months pregnant at the time, and I'm almost 6 feet tall. So you can hide when you're in your 30s and you're almost 6 feet, you can hide the fact that you're pregnant. I can't believe I could hide the fact that I was pregnant at 5 months, but I did.
Well, you're so tall and slim. So.
Exactly. Now it's 50 plus. I'm just grateful that Sarah Blakely invented Spanx because we need a little help from time to time. But back then I hit it. So anyway, we got the money, a couple $1 million to get this .com off the ground. And here's where it gets. And Judy, I've told the story many times, and every time I tell it, it gets me right in the gut and in the heart. Because here's the deal: 8 days after giving birth to that first child, who tomorrow will be 18, but 8 days after giving birth to her, I went back to work. And 14 days after giving birth to my first child, we launched the business. So I birthed a baby and a business in the same 2 weeks. And who does that?
Who called the insane asylum for you?
It's insane. And I lost my mind. It was horrible. It was horrible. And I just didn't know, how are you supposed to be a powerful, successful woman in the world and be a good mom? Like, there was no role model. My mother actually stayed home. Unlike some of, the stories you all were telling, my mother stayed home. So I didn't have a clue what to do. And I just, like the rest of, like many women, we just figured out along the way with blood, sweat, and tears, Yes, but what happened was I just realized in that, personal crisis mode, that I had to do something. I had to do whatever I could do to help women be powerful and acknowledged in the world in the way they want to be, and be there for their families in the way they want to be. And so I resigned from that high-powered job that I created, and I really dedicated my own business to exactly that. And I haven't looked back, and it's not been easy. As you know, Judy, I have 3 teenagers, count them, 1, 2, 3. And I'm a sandwich generation. I have an 88-year-old father in my home who is in dementia. And I run my own business still. So it is a zoo over here.
and out of that zoo, you created this whole process of finding your inner blueprint and really getting deep down inside yourself. And this really impressed me because it's so such a unique process. And I'm so excited that you're going to have a webinar on it. Now, what is the date of the webinar? It's the 18th, right? May 18th?
It's the 18th. Thursday the 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Yes.
And they can sign up. We have it on the calendar of events at whatwomenwantnetworking.com. And do you have a URL they can go to directly?
I do. It's whatwomenwantnetworking.com/3 lies and 1 truth. And that's the number 3 lies and the number 1 truth. Because here's the thing, Judy, as you know, we have been misled. And your first part of the show just got me. And it's exactly what we're teaching now is we have been fed all of these mistruths. And I don't say lies as though someone's been sinister, but we have swallowed these beliefs and expectations, and it's killing us. And if you're an entrepreneur, it's making it harder to make money. So in next week's training, we're going to talk about exactly what that is and what to do to reverse that with this powerful new technology. Well, it's not new. It's a powerful technology, I call it, a powerful system that is so little known. And we're like kids in a candy shop trying to get the word out because it's changing lives and making a difference. And it's giving some relief and success to the hardworking women. And whether you're working at home, just raising your family, or whether you're doing the juggle like we all are here, or what have you, this is a piece that's been missing. And as you know, Judy, it makes such a difference to understand. So
it does. Now, how much can you tell us about, without giving it away, about really, what this is? What's the unique hidden code? What are you talking about?
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to give it away. First, let me tell you why it's such a cool system. Is because if you think about it, we're walking around acting like we're just like everyone else. You were talking about it on the first half of the show. A good mother equals fill in the blank. And so we're all holding ourselves up to standards or expectations that are never going to work. And so this system, it's called the Human Design System, and it gets down to the root of your inner blueprint. It's as though we could sort of peel the layers of your skin and look and see what is your inner wiring, because yours is different than hers, it's different than mine. And from that information, we then can craft a plan either for your business, your life, your relationships, that will get you much further faster. So, for example, Judy, some people have, there's general types, but everyone's there's a billion people on the planet, so everyone sort of has their own unique version of it, but there's different categories. And some people are not meant to just go do it. This culture is just do it and make it happen and, step out. And you know what? If that's not in line with what your blueprint is, that's going to fail miserably. So if anybody's listening to this and they can't figure out why they're banging their head against the wall and why your friend, your neighbor, your colleague is killing it and is doing really well in business or in life, and you're not, and you're doing the same things she is, it's because you're not meant to. And when you understand who you are and you understand the strategies that will work for you, then you can reap the success and satisfaction that you absolutely deserve. This is such a powerful tool, and we're creating a revolution of our own, just trying to get the word out. So, as you can tell, I could talk about this forever. And I'm thrilled because next week we're really going to dig into the particulars of this. So I'm so excited, Judy, that you've been, that we're partnering on this and getting this information into people's hands for free, free webinar. So thank you.
So how did you find this process? How did you come up with it? Is it yours? Like what did you you dust off or what scroll did you find in the magic corner to find this?
So how did I find this? So, that first we all have many crises in our life, right? So you heard about one of my first adult ones was when I had my first child and was working. I had a couple other ones along the way, but my most recent one was a year and a half ago, when I was running my multiple six-figure business and loving the women that I get to serve. I love the women I get to serve, but I honestly was so fried on the business part, and I was so sick and tired of what I felt was schlocky, salesy internet marketing, which I've been in internet marketing for about 6 years, which is like almost a dinosaur in terms of launching and things like that. But I was so sick of it, and I wasn't having as much fun, and I just said something is off, and I have to stop. So I actually pulled the plug on my business. I served existing clients, but I canceled all launches, all income-producing activity. I just went undercover for what I thought would be 3 months, 6 months. Well, listen, it turned into a year. And I was just doing my soul searching, and I was having faith that this was going to lead somewhere. And I was turned on to this human design system by a colleague. And I thought, that sounds really weird to me. My rational Western brain was just very skeptical. And so I just quietly investigated it more and more and more. And then I started testing it on myself. And then I started testing it with my wonderful private guinea pig clients. And lo and behold, this stuff works in a way that I have seen nothing work. It's well beyond personality tests, DISC, Myers-Briggs. I have much respect for all of those. This goes deeper. And then it just recently we decided now it's time to actually launch it into the world. So where did it come from? About 30 or 40 years ago, an individual discovered this sort of by divine download, if you will. And like I said, that's the kind of thing that I always kind of put over in another category, like, well, that's kind of cute. But it's not rational and Western and logical. There's some mysticism to it. And I tell my clients, don't believe me. I don't want you to believe me. I want you to test it, and then we'll talk. So that's where it came from. And we're so excited because it's been esoteric. It's been sort of locked away by complex and dense, writings and teachings, and we're translating it. Our job in my company now is to translate this for people because it's really precious stuff. So that's my journey with this thing called human design and applying it to business, relationships, and life in general. Very exciting. And I've always, Judy, you've known me, I have always been just a little ahead of the curve. I'm not an inventor myself. I'm not an innovator. But I see things coming, like the .com, 1990s, saw the .com wave coming. I see things coming, internet marketing, and I see this human design is coming in a huge way into our culture to make a big difference. It's exciting. Really
Linda, I was exploring your website, and I really appreciate the blog about Cinderella. Because when I was a little girl, I hated that story. And I couldn't identify why. I just thought it was, Cinderella has to do housework, and I can't be a princess unless I do housework. But what you brought up in that one particular blog was how we forget our regal self, our sovereign self. How do women find out if they're detached or not communicating with that regal or sovereign self?
Oh, that's such a great question. So it's a really simple answer, and it's a simple fix, but not an easy fix. I know you know what that means. So here's your litmus test. Here's your red flag. If you're not honoring that regal self, I love the way you put that. Your divine inner, goddess. This perfect, whole, and complete spiritual being that you are, where there's nothing wrong with you and there's nothing that needs fixing with you. And here's the test to know if you're in touch with that truth about yourself or not. Are you frustrated? Are you overwhelmed? Are you overworked? Are you finding life is really hard? Is there no time for the things you care about? Which is pretty much every woman can check those boxes.
I was going to say, wow, am I a freak that every one of those answers is yes?
And I was just reviewing my day today and going, yep. Well, remember, we teach that which we need to learn the most. So right. I'm the queen of this. But here's the thing: it's likely, let's just take motherhood, that we're making it so hard for ourselves because we're trying to do things the way people tell us we're supposed to do it instead of doing things the way our authentic self would do them. And, you could pick any category about whether it's being a mother or how you're supposed to run your business. And so if you're feeling those things on a regular basis, then it's like a road. So if you have a road, a path, and if you're living that aligned self, if that true divine regal self, which we call, if you know your human design, it's like a roadmap for you, then things will flow more easily and they won't be as hard and you won't be as crazed. If you fall off the road, you're going to be either in the ditch of frustration or overwhelm. And it's simply a sign, oops, fell off the path. Let me get back to who I truly am. And like I said, the marvelous thing about human design is it's really like a roadmap. You go back, you study your wiring, and you go, oh, I'm not supposed to do things that way. I'm supposed to do them this way.
Kristin, you got to get on that webinar next week.
I wrote it down. Oh. I totally wrote it down. I'm down. I'm feeling my sexy soul quake within me, going yes.
That sexy soul had the cutest. Yes. The cutest video on Twitter today. It was so awesome. She's wearing pink and these big brilliant sunglasses, and she's like, we're talking about working moms tonight. Yeah. I mean, that's it right there. Cute. Kristin. Oh my gosh, everybody's got to go. Kristin_West, I think is your Twitter, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's great.
Magenta is the color of my soul. That is my color. It is. I live and breathe
Very
it.
Nice.
But I'm just so fascinated by what you're talking about, Linda, and our sexy soul, because usually those two words don't go together in the same sentence. If you're, if you're in most realities, I agree with it. I like it. I have a sexy soul, but I'm glad that you're teaching other people to have a sexy soul. Why do you think we not embrace the sexy soulness?
Well, it's so funny, and that term came to me years ago when I was trying to carve out, what do I really teach here? I teach business, but I teach spirituality, but it's not male business and it's not boring spirituality. What is it? And it's like, it's in line with what we've been talking about. You are this unique divine presence. You are a spiritual being that, is inhabiting this body for a temporary amount of time. This is my belief system. And so you are this, you have a sexy soul. You have a soul that's eternal, but it's sexy. And I don't mean sex only. I'm talking about that je ne sais quoi about you, that ineffable presence, that yumminess that every woman has. And sadly, it gets buried. It just gets buried. And so what I teach in my business is, for business women, is bring it into your business, because nobody wants a woman who's overtired and overworked and overwhelmed. Nobody wants to hire that. They want to hire somebody who's like Lucille Ball. She's the icon here. Lucille Ball was an incredible businesswoman, a most popular TV star of her time, and was hilarious and the whole 9 yards. And she was just truly her full self. Talk about a sexy soul. And so that's who I point to. And she was in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
So if she can do it, I'm like, ladies, we can do this, right?
She was trailblazing. Well, you got to see me right now. I'm lit up like a Christmas tree over this webinar and talking about sexy souls.
Oh, good.
And talking about our regal self, and that I don't have to like Cinderella is awesome. So, Linda, where do I find more? I need more. Tell me where your website. Tell me all of that stuff. I need it.
Oh, thank you. You need more. You need more of this stuff. Thank you. So my website is simply womenswealthrevolution.com. So it's all one word, womenswealthrevolution.com. All kinds of resources there. If anybody who's listening wants a quick, I call them a hidden code consult. Because if anybody's listening and you're like, I want to know my inner blueprint, then send me an email with the subject line, Hidden Code Consult, and we will hook you up. and we'll take 20 minutes, take a look at your inner coding, and give you some quick tips of how to get back on that path to success and fulfillment.
And
so
they
my
can
email
contact
is
you through
simply
your
Linda.
website?
Yeah, through my website, or my email is just linda@womenswealthrevolution.com. So either way, because
okay, Linda, we have
anybody
about
who's
10
listening,
seconds left.
Yep.
Well, thank you
ahead.
so
Yep.
much.
So
Linda@womenswealthrevolution.com. That's your email, right?
revolution.com. Exactly. Yep.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on the show. And I can't wait till the webinar, too. I'm telling you, it's going to have a lot of great stuff. And talking about
Have a blast.
sexy, next week we're talking friendships and dating. Allie Beck, the brilliant bachelorette, is going to be on, along with Olivia Poole. She invented a new app. Some say it's like a Tinder for girlfriends. Really, friends who are girls. I mean, I guess you could find a girlfriend on there too, but I think the whole point was for girls to kind of find each other, in metropolitan places. But we're going to find out next week all the details. It's all here on LA Talk Radio, or go to whatwomenwantradio.com for more info. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Kristin, and have a good night, everyone.
You're listening to What Women Want with Judy Goss, only on LA Talk Radio.